you got involved, or the band got involved, with Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman, the Chinny Chap organisation, which basically was almost like a factory. It was like the sort of Stock Aitken and Waterman of its time, I guess. What was it like being involved in that?
It was educational, because Mike Chapman was just the most amazing record producer, and he had a certain arrogance, but he was also a comedian. He made everything. He was serious about what he did, but it made life fun for us. He made it fun in the studio, and we loved him to bits. He was just brilliant. I mean, he went on to do all sorts of things. Wrote Simply the Best, Tina Turner, and other things. He's just an amazing guy.
That must have been fantastic working in that sort of environment. Now, as I say, the band has continued performing, and obviously you've all piled over here to Spain to do this show on Saturday evening at the Sahel Castle. Is there anything that sort of keeps you going? I mean, what keeps the band performing and working and presenting their music?
Well, we're passionate about what we do, and we love what we do, and it's just a hell of a buzz going on that stage, and we don't treat it like it's just this musical roundabout and it's a way of getting money. We actually adore doing what we do, and we're all very good friends. At the same time as that, we give each other a lot of space. We're like the Red Arrows aerobatic team when team leader says break, and they all go away and then reform another day.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that.
Now, I've got to ask you about Alice. I mean, Alice. But from what I understand, I originally thought it was Roy Chubby Brown who came to you with the idea of doing Alice. But it wasn't, was it?
No, it had been a hit all over Europe and Australia, and it started off life in Ireland. But what happened was we got a call from... There was a DJ apparently in Holland who had heard it in an Irish bar somewhere, because the Irish started it. And he recorded it, and he was sitting at number one in Holland with 100,000 sales under his belt, and he was up to about 200,000 in Germany with it. And everybody thought it was Smokie, but under a pseudonym, because he had the same sort of gravelly voice, Yeah. And so anyway, EMI in Germany came to us and said, "Listen, can we do a deal, and we'll back all this stuff?" And it was because we've been self-promoting it, self-financing it, and so we did that, and we ended up doing over 500,000 copies there in Germany. And then we found out this guy was going to do it with the backing of Sony Records in England. So we thought, oh, come on, we've lived with this silly song for all these years. Let's go for it. And so Steve, our drummer, Steve Pennell, his best friend just happens to be Roy Chubby Brown. So I said to him, "Do you think Roy'd like to get involved, and we'll get his army of fans on the bandwagon as well?" And sure enough, so we just stuck him in the studio with it. And he did 3 different versions, and so there's 3 different versions on the actual CD that we did.
Now, there is a slight sad sort of tinge to the story, because not long after that, you lost one of the guys out of the band during a hailstorm in Germany. Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't a hailstorm. Every time, people say, "What was it?" and they tell us what it was, and it wasn't a flash flood. I've had all sorts of things what it was. To be quite honest, it was cold. It had been raining, but there was nothing like it, and the driver just lost control for some reason. They skidded on something, and we went up an embankment and rolled back down on the autobahn in Germany, and really that was as much as we remember, because early morning we just went to Dusseldorf Airport from the hotel.
Well,
and I mean, it's one of
to
those things where and it was like this is the ridiculous part. I was sat next to Alan in the crash, and he was the only one with a seatbelt on.
Oh, no.
So it's absolutely amazing why that happened.
But on the upside, the single not only went into the charts once, it went into the charts, I think, 3 times. Originally in its original form in 1976, then again in May 95, and then in August 95 when it got to number 3.
It's nuts. isn't it? There's something about that girl. Yeah, she's been a bit of a flagship, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
People tend to forget there was about another 13, 14 others.
I know this is the thing, when you sort of look at Smokie, I mean, the only thing that you see now is Alice, and you think to yourself, well, hang on, they made some brilliant songs before and since. Alice was just one little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun thing, isn't it, really? It's just, you can't take it seriously. It's just boy-girl thing, and, she goes away. That's it. We've, for years and years, everybody says, who is Alice? I mean, the thing, nobody's asked that question before. And,
I wasn't going to ask.
If you were, I thought if you were on the case, you'd ask who Sally was, because first word is Sally. Sally called when she got the words, but nobody ever does. So anyway, we just finished a new album 2 weeks ago, and it's just in the mixing process at the moment. And somebody sent us a song, and it was so quirky, and it's called "Sally Doesn't Live Here Anymore."
No.
Sally's song, and so we said we've got to do this song. So we've rocked it up a bit. We've sort of Rod Stewarted it a bit, but it's all about Sally now,
Oh,
so it's really cool.
We really must get a copy of that. If there's any way you could ever get us a copy of that, I'd love to have it and play it here.
Well, it's going to be out in the autumn.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be out in the autumn when it's all done. Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll try and get hold of a copy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both Sally and Alice. I mean, you've led me into it now, so I've got to ask: did they actually exist? Were they really people?
No, not at all. Fictitious, totally fictitious. I mean, it was a Mike Chapman song, and he just came up with all stuff like that anyway. We had O'Carroll. There's a lot of girls' names of that Smokie. I don't know what happened there, but
I didn't know whether it was all girlfriends.
No, it's just it's just boy-girl thing. Just another story, really.